Welcome to Women in the Know, where we discuss everything from politics and policy to relationships and marketing. We learn lessons from our guests, from our viewers, and from our coworkers that we try to impart to our viewers so that we can all learn a little bit from each other. Rebecca, today's topic is kind of a cool one, and it bounces off of our last guest, who is Kelsey Ackman from College Hunks. And she talked about following her inner voice to make a major career change at the age of maybe 27-ish, somewhere in there. And I think that that's such an interesting thing, because to do such a big shift at such a young age, I think is unusual. And I think all of us struggle with listening to that inner voice gut feeling that we should be doing something different from what we are doing. Have you experienced that kind of conflict, that inner voice?
So I think, to your point, Kelsey is very unique in that she spent 7-8 years becoming a lawyer, right? There's a lot of prestige, a lot of status that comes with it. That's a career path. And then based on an experience where she was critiqued for wearing a skirt to court, she said, "This is not for me." She was told to wear pants, plus a few other things that her gut told her lawyering wasn't her cup of tea, and she took the risk and now is in sales, right? She's in franchise sales and doing really, really well. So it is rare for someone to do that and to listen to that inner voice. But I think you're right. I think we all have it. I can think of many times when I have listened to it and sometimes thought, what the heck am I doing? But it was right. And other times when it was speaking to me and I ignored it because I was getting logical and pragmatic or whatever. But my moving to California was an inner voice thing. I was in New Jersey at the time, and I was working in a deli slicing meat. And this guy comes in and he's randomly just sort of talking. And he says, I'm moving to San Diego. I didn't know where San Diego was. I didn't know what state it was in. I was clueless. I was in my 20s. And I said to him, "Take me with you." I knew I needed to be living in San Diego. Now, he never came out and we never became friends, but I knew the minute I heard that word that that's where I was supposed to be. I didn't know it was on a beach. I didn't know anything, and I've never doubted that since I've been in San Diego. And there's been other times I've had that inner voice speak up and I go, no, it's not the right time, or it doesn't make sense, or so it's a tough one to truly trust. But when we do, it seems to work out, right?
Well, it does. And it's funny how when you don't listen to it, I was in a job one time that I started to see going downhill with the relationships with the people. And there was a moment where I thought, I need to get out. I need to quit this job and get out of here. And I didn't do it because we have 5 kids, kids in college,
Right.
It's not a practical thing to do. And so I just thought, well, I'll get out, when I have something else or when I've made another plan or whatever. And I ended up getting fired from that job, but I knew I needed to get out. And I didn't do it at that moment. So then it turned into this thing that was much more unpleasant than it could have been if I had just left when I knew that I needed to leave. And I think that she just tossed that risk to the wind and did it. And maybe, who knows if I had gotten out sooner, if, things would be further along in the things that I'm doing now. Although I'm not, regretting it, because now,
you met me.
I met you, and everything's worked out just the way that it should. However, I knew something was not going to be good with that job, and it wasn't.
Something was telling you.
Something was saying this is not a good place for you. And clearly that was the truth. So I think we all have those moments where we think this is not right, in relationships, romantic relationships, in job relationships, in your friendships. Sometimes I think you tend to know what the right answer is. And when you don't follow it, to me, it seems like things go downhill quickly, and then you're kind of forced into that decision.
Yeah.
And then it's unpleasant.
I know.
You just make the decision.
Directions.
Yeah.
It's both directions, whether it's something to get away from or towards. You kind of know when you should get out of a situation like what you described with that job. And for me, it was moving towards something. I knew, even though I didn't know where it was or what it was, I just knew I needed it.
You knew it was the right
And
direction. Yeah.
knew it was the right direction. I was willing to take that risk. But I think fear, and this is where Kelsey is very unique. She felt the fear and she did it anyway.
Yep.
She talked about the crazy fear she felt before she jumped from being a lawyer to going to college hunk. But she so strongly believed it was right that she basically said, I'll eat the fear and I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, and I asked her that question about was she afraid when she did it because, or did she think it was scary or whatever it was, because she was so on the ball and she was so sure and she followed that intuition so clearly. I thought, I hope you were scared, because then you would be not human.
Right.
You would be superhuman if that kind of change didn't scare you. So I was like, oh, thank goodness she was scared, because I would have been very nervous to have that conversation with my parents, or, to make that kind of a shift and all these expectations that are changing. So I was relieved to know that she, she's not superhuman.
Yeah,
she's so impressive.
She's one of us.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I felt the same way. Like, please tell me you were scared.
Yeah, tell us something, because she was so sure. But I think that's what's appealing about her, is that she was so sure that in spite of feeling fearful or in spite of difficult conversations, she did what she knew was right for her. And I think that's an admirable quality that we should all aspire to.
And I think it's something, like you said, we need to aspire to, emulate. But I'm also curious, from those that are listening, tell us things where you've had a gut feel and what happened when you followed that gut feel and when you didn't. We're very curious to how accurate this gut feel or inner voice is. But tell us your stories. Elizabeth and I would love to hear them. Put them in the chat below or reach out to us directly. We'd love to hear your stories. But for now, we got to kind of wrap up this segment and look forward to the next Women in the Know.